Welcome to Inside the Upside Down, where you can now hear us. We're going to be talking about our scariest paranormal investigations that we've ever had. We are just foregoing the intro clip tonight because I noticed the wrong one because I didn't finish it before the night started. So all apologies to Rio Udizato, who does our fantastic music. And sorry that we had, it was on pause. There's so many different little things.
That's where the checklist comes in.
There's no way I'm going to have a checklist right here as we're starting the show.
No, it could be right there, though.
No, we just need a production manager that's their job, to hit the button.
Okay.
In any case, our scariest places ever. So this is really unusual, I guess, in a way, because whenever we talk about scary places, I mean, neither one of us have been really scared out of a place. I mean, you kind of with the cafe, which we're going to talk about first. But I haven't. But there are some very creepy experiences that we've had, some unusual paranormal experiences, and some just very, spooky, creepy vibe places that we've been to. And even we've captured like the sinister laugh at Beardstown. So we're going to get into a lot of these different things. The B3 Airspace makes Shana the production manager. I don't know how. She'd have to reach across me and hit the button here. I don't know. I mean,
if that's what it does, if that's what it takes, maybe
yeah, Shana, your one thing is to make sure that we're not muted going in. The thing is that it's really fun because you have to, make sure it's unmuted at the very beginning, then mute it for the music so that we don't accidentally talk, and then unmute it again. So it's like this whole... It's the one thing I actually don't like about this. When we use the other stuff, the other studio software, we didn't have that issue, but that was the one where everything slowed down to a crawl. So that's why we went with this one. All right. Okay. So let's get into the very first place that we're going to talk about tonight. Probably between the two of us, the scariest location, and I've wanted to get in there forever. You're the one that's had the experience. You were on my ghost story to talk about this this place, and that is the cafe in Campsville. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that we want more stuff about the cafe. Okay, here we go. There it is. There's the cafe.
Just looks like your normal small town, out in the middle of nowhere, old style looking building, but there's a lot of stuff go on in that place.
Well, you've had furniture thrown at you here.
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest, it wasn't so scary that I couldn't go back inside, So, but it was also, as I've explained before, that it was a turning point in my views on the paranormal. It was definitely a game changer because until that moment, I had assumed that they couldn't hurt you. So, and I realized that at that point, if they really wanted to hurt you, they could. Throwing furniture at somebody is not something you do. It's just, it's not something that you do if you're trying to make nice with them. So
you also had this is the place where you got groped. This was the kind of highlight, I guess, of that particular episode. You can see the hand there on Shana's chest. People have seen different images back behind her. Some have seen this guy above. Others have seen a little boy below. So now, did you actually feel the grope, or was this just you saw it afterward?
I could feel something touching my back. It felt like somebody was like running their hands and pushing, kneading on my back, like a cat would. It was really weird, and so I said, and we have some audio, to go with this night. It's on the YouTube channel, actually. Not on this YouTube channel, but our
your old one, your old group's YouTube channel,
right? And the EVP to go with this picture is me asking, "Are you touching my back right now?" And a man says, "Go right to sleep." So,
Benny Lange's wondering how long ago this was.
Oh God, This is probably 11 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. Because I started working in here in 2007. We closed in 2008. So actually it would be about 10 years. Okay. Actually. The cafe itself shut down in 2010, and I had a lot of cleaning up to do since it used to be a restaurant, and a consignment store. I mean, there was a lot going on in this building, so there was a lot of cleanup to do after the fact. And so we had offered to clean and spruce up the joint for free investigating rights. And so that's how that started, and it just kind of escalated from there. So it was finally, and even in 2014, I moved out of the area, but I still came back, every once in a while. So it wasn't until just, 3 years ago or so that the place was basically, closed off and stuff like that. So I spent a lot of time in that building, a lot of time.
Tom McNicholas was wondering if that was upstairs.
No, that picture was downstairs in the main dining area. And I was sitting right next to me, that hallway, that was Action Alley.
Action Alley.
Yeah.
Let me go back to that. This hallway here where the refrigerator is?
Yes. Yeah. And so actually on the other side of that wall, across from Action Alley, that's where I saw Byron for the first time.
Oh, Byron. Let's go ahead and bring up Byron. And just chiming in with the chat here real quick. So a lot of people are definitely seeing the faces behind. I think Judy Wilson was saying she could see 3 people, but a lot of people are saying are seeing the different faces. So I see the 2 where it looks like a guy kind of above you but behind you as well in that corner, and then a little boy directly behind you.
Yeah, I initially blew all of that off, as, like picture like Matrixing, or did I want to see something back there?
It could. That could always be the case. I've wanted to go there and take this, like a copy of this picture with, and just go to that spot and see, how the walls are there.
Yeah, there were other pictures taken, which I wish we would have shown that the other pictures taken, because they didn't have that in there.
I don't have.
I know.
Okay.
We don't have, but that's the one that we saved, that's the one, but the others didn't have it in there.
Okay.
And so that's why we, held on to this one, obviously. But I tried to blow the other stuff off, but the thing on my face, that kind of, I couldn't really explain that one away. Like if it was on a wall or on it, where it would be like grainy, where the matrix kind of makes it look like a face or whatever, I would do that.
All right.
I would say that.
So B3 Aerospace is asking, has or did anything follow you around after this picture?
Yeah. Before, during, after, before that happened, not too long after we started investigating there, and I discovered, we started, noticing the different spirits that were in there. Byron had followed me home on numerous occasions. One of the other male spirits had followed me home, and my oldest son saw him and described, this man that he had never seen before that I had seen in life. So I knew who he was talking about.
Yeah, so that's Byron.
Yeah.
So, and Andrew Cox with a $10 super chat. Shana, there is a man behind you smiling. So that's I think that's the one people see the most. And I think it was the cafe show that we did with Rita, where somebody had seen maybe it was Vanessa that saw the little boy behind. So thank you very much, Andrew, for the $10 super chat. We really do appreciate those. And so this is Byron. You're saying that from around this corner, when you went through the door?
Yeah, through the doorway. If you walk, and there's a little ramp. You can't see it very well, but if you walk through the hallway, there's a ramp that goes up, and then as soon as it levels out, there's a partition on the other side, like a partition, like a dividing wall. And just around that dividing wall was Byron.
And there's Byron. Very cool. Now, is he anywhere close to the shadow person that's in this picture? Because I've never been there, so I don't know the layout.
I mean, we looked, judging the layout and just in scale to the other things that were around him that we knew what size they were, we feel like that was him.
And this shadow back there is Byron?
Yeah, that's what we feel.
So, and if you guys are looking for it, the shadow person is straight back, right in the middle of the picture. And if you look at the things in the foreground, they don't make that shadow. I've looked at this picture a number of times, trying to see, what in the foreground could possibly making that shadow in the back. And like this, whatever this white thing is, it's not the same shape, because it doesn't have the head. The extended arm is not in this picture anywhere. So that item could not be making that shadow back there.
Right before this picture was snapped, heard movement and snapped in that direction. So didn't see it initially, but just snapped a picture of the noise, and that's what was captured.
Yeah, Judy Wilson is asking, do you know the little boy's year that he lived or died in? So it was before the building was built.
It was before the building was even there, and it would have been late 1880s. Because that's the time that was documented. All of this documentation is somewhere in our former team archives. It is somewhere. It can be found. It was basically that property was the site of a gunfight, and Byron, I don't know where his parents were, but Byron had climbed up into a tree that was on the property, and he fell out, and that's how he died.
So I got to throw this out there. Mark Dodge 126 says, I'm a avid watcher but never caught a live chat. I'm thrilled. And yeah, Mark does comment on the different videos. So great to see you there, Mark. And there's Adam Tillery with the eyes lurking out there. Mm-hmm. Adam Tillery is the, we'll go back to Byron here. He is the illustrator of that picture. So thank you very much, Adam. We'll actually have another piece from Adam Tillery here later. So Adam, as you're lurking, and don't let me know what happened in the Oak Island episode tonight. I know he was watching Oak Island tonight.
Like Adam, I'm forever grateful because that is my piece of Byron since I don't have him anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's like the closest thing that I have.
Yeah, and so, and Tim's asking, you kind of talked a little bit about this already, but was Byron attached to the land or something happened to him that bound him there? And
yeah, he's attached to the land, not the building.
Yeah.
So when that building is gone, he will still be there, I feel. He was upstairs a lot, is when we first discovered him. We could hear him, and I feel... I've heard his voice before on audio that I had captured in my house at the time when I lived just a stone's throw away from the property. And so the very first EVP that we captured of him was me asking if he spends a lot of time upstairs, and a little child says yes with my mommy. So
that's sweet. Actually, we had that EVP. We had that EVP on the show with Rita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a very sweet little voice.
Let me see if I can dig that up real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah. And, I've had other audio, with him captured in my house at the time. And, so I can, all the different people, the spirits that we've heard in that building, his is the one that, stands out, the most to me, obviously. So, but we have other voices from in there too. And a lot of them that we can put, names to, because, they weren't just randoms, they were involved.
Okay. I'm gonna bring it up.
Okay.
So here's the.
Do you spend any time upstairs? I hear stuff moving around upstairs.
I know.
Do you?
Okay, so that was the mommy EVP.
Upstairs?
So Sean Oldsmith asking, didn't Byron follow you home?
Yes. Often.
Oh, actually, wait a second. That was it there. I didn't, because we had the picture up. I didn't understand the. We'll do this again because we just talked over the actual EVP.
Do you spend any time upstairs? I hear stuff moving around upstairs.
I know.
Do you spend any time upstairs? I hear stuff moving around upstairs.
I know.
Okay. So there we go. Sorry. Because I already had the Byron picture up, and then that little video clip that I had created with the mommy EVP had the Byron picture in there, so we talked over it the first time. So, yeah, so he did follow you home.
Yeah, he followed me home a lot. There were times whenever I would leave and have to go somewhere and have to tell him, look, you know, if you're here, you know, I mean, he's still a kid. You know, it's like if you're here, you're going to have to go home, you know, until I come back. I didn't mind that he was there. There were times that, you know, we had moments where I had to remind him that he was still a kid and I was an adult and in charge, because he would do stuff that, you know, I had set ground rules and said, no, this is not okay. Yeah, you can do this if you want, but not this. And, but there would be times that I'd be like, okay, you know, and I would have to walk to the cafe and be like, you got to follow me. And then I'd have to open the door, unlock it, and then be like, you know, okay, you got to go. It's not like I can see this little boy, you know, and tell if he's listening to me or not. So I felt like I was losing my shit half the time, you know. It's like, I don't know if he's listening to me. You know, I can't see him all the time. I can only see him just, you know, every once in a while.
Right. Well, I guess that's kind of the way it goes. So there are a couple comments in here about the photo, and then we'll move on to the next location because we have 6 locations that we are covering. So, and let's go back to here. So Deb's Me 08 is saying one of the men behind Shana looks like he is a man from the frontier days, white-haired and white beard. Jill Nimchinsky says, I see him too, Deb's Me. So I can pronounce Nimchinsky, but not Yamazaki. But, yeah, so I think that they're saying this one up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the thing that's scary is like the things, there's a couple of things, you know, from this building, you know, that freaked me out. One, the furniture throwing incident, and, you know, no idea, you know, who we ticked off. I just know that before the incident, I could hear a lot of moving around upstairs. And then it was like, you know, it was noisy as that we had heard things upstairs, and it sounded like furniture moving. You know, there was a little, there were living quarters upstairs. There was an apartment upstairs. And I actually know people, you know, that had lived up there that had never witnessed a single thing upstairs.
Kind of crazy,
that was, yeah. And I was like, how did you not?
Right.
And whenever I explained to them all of the magnitude of things that had gone on up there, and they were just looking at me like wide-eyed, like, oh my God, you know, and they lived there for a while, you know, and I was so confused, you know. I was like, how did you not know? But nobody wanted to be upstairs alone, you know. And I mean, I had done it like a handful of times, and then there were other times that I was drawn up there to go by myself and didn't want anybody else to go with me, and thought that someone might have been messing with me, trying to lure me upstairs, you know, because I would never do that. And but we saw this giant hulk of a shadow, well over 6 foot tall, like at least 6.5 feet tall, and pretty broad. I mean, it was a big shadow. Whenever we all went to, we traveled in groups anywhere, especially if you had to use the facilities. Nobody went alone in the back of the building. And so we all went as a group. And then as soon as we made it up that ramp in Action Alley, the door slammed shut behind the last person. We had already cleared the doorway and we're already by the bathroom. And there was a few feet in between the bathroom and the door. And the door slammed with such force that it like echoed and shook the building, right? So we're like, damn, you know. And then so we were like sitting ducks back there. And we're like, well, we got to go back out, you know, because, you know, you couldn't lock the door from the outside in the back of the building because it was a deadbolt on the inside. And so the only way to make the building secure was to go with front. So I was like, well, we're going to have to go, you know. So I announced, you know, that we were coming out. And then that's when we opened the door and saw the big shadow. Pretty certain that it's the one that slammed the door. But then we all saw it. There was like 6, 7 of us there. We all saw it. And then the shadow it was there, just standing there, kind of looking at us, I guess you would say. I mean, we didn't really see features, but we all saw the same thing. Fairly dark shadow. And then it just kind of moved. I say moved because we didn't see legs moving, it just kind of traveled to the other side of the room, and it was just gone, and then so we went and sat back down. And then that's when the loud furniture moving and stuff, it sounded like someone was moving shit out of the way to make it downstairs.
Right.
And except for, there must, I guess, at some time, because you could hear it upstairs, but it wasn't near the entrance of where you would normally come downstairs in the building. However, what it was near was the door in the back of the building that's wired shut up on top. There used to be stairs. And it was coming from that end of the building, but it was so loud coming down, and it came through the back and come out. And so like stuff was being shoved out of the way, and, where I'm out first. I'm out of the building first. I had this like blast of let's get the hell out of here right now. I was first. I grabbed my stuff and I got out. Okay, I'm running, but I stopped and I turned around once I was, out of the doorway to make sure everybody else got out okay. And that's when I, was watching all that stuff happen. So all of us that had made it, out were able to see the festivities from across the room, and it was pretty scary stuff, I mean, that bookcase flying across the room though. There is no way, that I personally could have lifted that bookcase on my own and thrown it across the room with the force that it went, because that bookcase was full of books. The whole bottom row was full. The top row had stuff on it, and there was even knickknack. That thing came up, it just was sitting in a stationary position across, and it just came up, and it was just catapulted. It was just from point A to point B so fast, and it bounced off the edge of the doorway that the last person that was unlucky enough to leave the building last, I'm talking just like seconds, and right. Not many between him and that bookcase smacking against the wall, and then the door shut behind us, and that was it. Tom
McNicholas says that you should draw a layout of the place. So, and I know there's a couple more questions down in there about this, but we're over 20 minutes into this show already, and we have 6 locations that we're covering. This was just the first.
We need another cafe show.
I know. So it just
you
have so many stories from there, and it's one of those places that I've heard so many stories from you. I want to get in there, and we know the deal with that. It's just hard to get into right now. So it's for sale if you want $800 and all the liability.
Yeah. You have to take it as is.
Yeah. And not see it beforehand. So that's one thing I would want to check is the structure of it before doing anything. So
the floor is caved in the front. We know that much.
I haven't seen it, so yeah. I don't know. All right. So we're going to move on from the cafe to Black Bear Church. So that was, the cafe was Shana's, I guess, scariest one. If you want to, I guess you'd call that scary, shit being thrown around.
Yeah, I wasn't scared of the building. I was just more aware of my surroundings, and there were uncomfortable or scary situations that happened inside of it.
Yeah, and this one was more of a creepy thing that happened. For some people, I guess, it'd be scary because it was the crawler incident down in the basement. So this is the external. It's a rural church out in the middle of nowhere, Olive Township, Oklahoma. It's off a couple of dirt roads. There was literally a night where to show a guy this place, there were cows on the road that we were trying to drive through, and they were like walking across. It was kind of funny because we were like, move, but but this place, very, very creepy location, and it was down here in the basement area where we spotted the crawler. It's also where we talked about on the my ghost story episode. Of course, the crawler down there, but then there was the ball of light. This is like the very first picture I took of the interior. I walked in, there was this ball of light, snapped a picture real quick, and then it was gone. So that's an illuminated ball of light right above the pulpit area. Ignore the graffiti, please. But that is like the best true orb photograph I've ever taken. So that's what a real one looks like. Self-illuminated, not dust. But it was down in this basement area where the thing came in. It was a different investigation. I've been there, I don't know, maybe 5-6 times, something like that. One of those particular investigations, there was more of the group. The first time I was with, there was just 3 of us, and that's where I caught that illuminated ball of light. That's where, if you've heard the stories, seen the videos before, the coyotes were coming, so we went to the cemetery across the road. That's where I got my teeth were warm, EVP. Heard the footsteps coming down the road that were disembodied, thinking the locals were coming. That was all a different investigation. This one is actually the same investigation where I got the correct EVP confirming a observation I made on a headstone. And the cemetery is right across the little dirt road. But you can see it's a Mountain Dew bottle, the green bottle that's on the floor there. And that's what got kicked around while the crawler came in. And so, you can kind of see the long spindly arms and legs, and it came in through one of the windows. It was just kind of like circling us, like around the walls, the ceiling. It apparently hit the floor at some point because it kicked that bottle. And I didn't include the audio clip here, but you hear us talking about it. The psychic medium that we had with us at the time was freaked out about it because, again, the kick in the bottle. She wanted us to sing church hymns and stuff like that to lighten the atmosphere, which we did. And it seemed to go away. But so that was my first ever crawler incident. So Bree Jones saying, I see horns on the head. Hippo shape in the back right corner, see horns in the head. It was it definitely wasn't a hippo shape what we saw. It was kind of long, spindly, and it just moves so damn fast. The land there is creepy. Yeah, the church itself, and I don't have the photo of it in the mix here. Let me bring up the ball of light video. So you see the little stairs here on the right hand side where you see the name Phillips on the stairs. Obviously somebody named Phillips put that, but there's a little corridor that goes back to a little room on the right hand side, and there on this it's like a cinder block pedestal, but then there's like this concrete slab that's up there, and that's where we saw the remnants of scorched animal bones or scorch marks that were on the concrete slab. And so it looked like some ceremonial work had been done there, somebody trying to conjure something. There's a lot of legends there about somebody conjuring up the crawler. They've had a lot of different names for, some people try to call it a demon and crap like that, which I don't believe it was demonic. Some other stories there about shorter shadow people coming up to the windows of the church and looking in, but never coming actually inside, and that this crawler had dominion over them. There's a lot of legends and stuff like that. Never really saw the shorter shadow people. May have seen some other shadow play there, but kind of par for the course of a location like that. But witnessed the crawler, but could not make an observation of it having dominion over other shadow people or anything like that. Its origins, maybe it was conjured, and that's kind of the thing. We weren't there for it happening, so how can you ever say for certain this happened? You could say, there's a certain probability that maybe it came from there, but you never really know for sure. So that was definitely, for me, that's probably one of the creepiest places I've ever been. Can't necessarily say scared, because I still maintain as an adult going on these investigations, I haven't been scared of anything, although I know there are some that would contend that I haven't been on enough investigations. I've been on plenty. I lost count. Let's see. Bree Jones, the door is highlighted on the right door left corner. Is that a light effect? I guess back on, I'm not sure which photo you're looking at. Okay, Kathy Saliento, why the name Crawler? Because of the way it moves. So it's basically, using its arms, or like its hands and its feet, to basically crawl around on like the walls, the ceiling, on the floor. People have talked about like seeing crawlers crawling up the stairs, or like a crab and stuff like that. So a lot of people have had those different observations of, or like you might even be standing at one point and then just drop down and, kind of think of all the recent horror movies, like the ones that are that try to depict demons, of course, a possession of a demon. And so they always do like the crack of the arms. Once a person gets possessed, and they kind of like drop down to all fours and they start doing that weird crab-like walk, kind of like that, but none of the cracking. And it wasn't so much of that herky-jerky crab-like thing as it was just. I mean, it was more like smoothly, like I don't know. It was so damn fast, and the arms were long and the legs were long, and yeah. I have somewhere an example of what I saw. That I don't know if it's a somebody's actual picture or it was a creative work. I don't have it up here, but it's in the different shadow people videos that I've done. So I chalk it up to a shadow person. So let's see what else you guys have. Kathy, it had to be freaky. Would have loved to have seen that. Well, I mean, yeah, I can sit there and say I've seen it. It was a crazy experience for sure. I mean, there was even like on my audio recorder, there was this electronic buzzing that was coming through, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no electricity whatsoever. And we all make sure to have cell phones off. I wasn't even using like a smartphone or anything at the time. That's how long ago it was. Yeah, and then we had that metal bang, 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 bang going on. So it was like maybe it was hitting the metal railing going up to the first floor. So, yeah, Mark Dodge Demons. That's a job for Ghost Adventures. Yeah, leave it to them. All right, and Bria is saying upper left-hand corner is highlighted white on that door you were talking about. I don't know. I guess I'll go back real quick just to take a look, and then we'll move on. So there's places. So yeah, I guess I'm not seeing it. I mean, there's that, and then look at the basement. Pick real quick, and yeah, that's. I don't know. She must be talking about this one. Whoop, not that one. Ball of light pick. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really seeing it. Left. I mean, if you're talking about the little room there on the left, we never really got much in there. Yeah, Kathy, I'd love to investigate the creeper and make for a good book. I do have that in a book. Ghosts and Legends of Oklahoma. Yeah. So, all right. So let's move on here. What is our next one that we have up? So you guys might be surprised about this one, but Mineral Springs. Mineral Springs. I mean, we go there a lot. We love the building. We love the location. We love its ratings in. But there have been times where it's been a little creepy.
I will say this. If you're the type that believes in crystals, an amulets, talisman of some kind, something that you feel brings you protection of any kind, I wouldn't say that I went in with nothing. I had nothing on me at all, just me and my recorder. And when we were upstairs, when we were upstairs, I mean, I literally, there was no way that I would, and I don't like bringing up the rear anyway, but especially not that night. And I forced myself to have blinders on, like tunnel vision, and always looking forward, because every room that I passed felt like there was something, you know, in there in the dark. And what kind of something, I have no idea. But if I have never been back upstairs again without some type of shielding or crystals or something since.
That day or night, you were, I mean, we had to go back down so you could get your stuff.
I had to get, you know, I put that much, you know, faith in the stuff that I use. I put that much faith in it to work. And I definitely felt, you know, better, you know, once I got upstairs, because, you know, I'm not saying I was back at 100%, you know, just that whole night up there, it was just, the energy was just so different.
Real quick, just to answer Betty Lange's question, how long did you investigate when you got the orb and the crawler? 2 different nights. The orb one, we were there for probably between the church and the cemetery, probably about an hour. The night of the crawler, we were probably there for about an hour and a half. We were actually with a group that we were showing the area. We were actually investigating up the 101 Ranch, and we wanted to show the group that we were investigating with up there, the church. So we came down as a little side trip and split up into 2 groups, and we were there for an hour and a half. They were in the cemetery when we were checking out the church. So, but back to Mineral Springs. Sorry, just wanted to answer a question real quick. So it's up in this hallway, and this is, I don't think it was just because of like Molly or anything in particular, but it's the same location where you experienced Molly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I go up there now, you know, there's Pearl up there, you know, that we talked to, and then there's another little girl up there that we talked to, and then, you know, there's Molly, who we just met, you know, in that room right there not long ago. And
but she kind of poked you and kind of, you know, almost spooked you out of your chair up there.
I mean, that didn't really scare me as much, like, oh my God, you know, that happened, now I have to leave. As much as it just caught me off guard. I mean, there was some stuff going on before that I was just like, whoa, hey, you know. But then, you know, then the revelation moment that, hey, you know, I'm feeling someone specific, and it's not someone I'm used to, you know. And then, you know, the letter that her name starts with and her name coming at me, like, you know, one right after another. And, you know, someone had said my name in that room before. You know, and I had just always assumed that it was someone that I already knew, not somebody new, you know, that had just decided to make an appearance. So, you know, and, you know, now, you know, I can go in her room alone. You know, I could be upstairs and be fine, you know, for a little bit. It's not so much scary as it is just the energy is just strong. It's too strong to handle, you know, just on my own.
Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming for you, which is why you need your stones when you go up there. Yeah,
I carry them with me every time, anywhere, and anytime I investigate anywhere. But I definitely always have them on me there. There's some times where in the room where Molly's at, where I'll just have something, you know, that I think might, you know, open the channel a little bit. You know, I don't worry about anything negative. Sad, yes, but it's not always that way. Just random moments, and I think certain things might trigger it, but there's still a lot of mystery surrounding her, and if that's even her name, I just feel really strongly that that's what it is based on her reaction. So, yeah.
Tom McNicholas is asking, have you ever been up there prior to them opening the walls? No, that was done years ago. That's I mean, they started a renovation on that. It was a previous owner, so it was a while ago. There was somebody who commented recently on one of our videos about helping to renovate another part of the building upstairs. It was actually the part of the building that used to be the old bowling alley, and they were changing it into apartments and all that. And they were creeped out. They were seeing like a lot of shadow people and stuff like that up there. So they were happy to get out. So that's other people being creeped out by Mineral Springs. From Mark, why does the Lord's Prayer or Bible passages seem to be effective if not every dead person or living is Christian? It's intent. It's intent. I mean, I think you could go up there singing Old MacDonald, and as long as you believe that that's going to work, it will. I mean, maybe that's a little extreme, but I think it's the intent behind it, the power you put behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have faith, then it's just words. You know, I don't do that when I'm afraid. If I'm afraid,
it works for me. I still do it.
Yeah, I don't. But of course, I've never, even the night at the cafe with all the furniture and stuff like that, I didn't pray. I mean, I just, I basically, we got out of there. We were actually in physical danger, and I realized that, and we got out of there. So, but like if I get like too overwhelmed to whatever, my first instinct isn't to recite anything or pray. I'm just like, get your shit together, Shauna. Get your mind together. Get your stuff. You're stronger than whatever this is. It's freaking you out. So take control back of your mind. Stop. What is this? What is that? What if it does this? What if it, and I basically just, there's a switch and you just flip it, and either you can handle it or you can't handle it. If you can't handle it, get out.
Sally Smith is asking if I can check Periscope chat. Let's see. I stopped doing actually checking the chat out there because we were running too much in the internet out here because of our new setup over the last several months. But if there's a burning question in there, I can go ahead and take a look real quick. Because we do simulcast here on Periscope, and let me see if I can log back in. I haven't even I also have a new phone, so I haven't even been on there in here. So all right. We'll check that out. So Mineral Springs, I mean, it is surprising to some people, but there is a very, very strong energy there. Now, I know a lot of people try to say the basement area, but it hasn't really been the case for us. I mean,
no.
You seem calm down there. I think it's just cool.
I feel really calm down there. I mean, and you can literally feel the energies just swirling down there, and it's strong, but it's not negative. And a lot of people think it is, and or feel like it is, but that's them. Not everybody experiences everything the same way, and I definitely don't. I have personally, never really seen anything scary, like actual entities or whatever. I've never seen black-eyed kids. I've never seen anything with glowing eyes. I've never seen anything like really scary. And I don't know if that's just because it realizes that I'm just like not gonna give a fuck, or I don't know what's going on. I don't know, but all these people experience this stuff, and I have no reason to say no, you're lying, but I've just personally never.
Tom McNicholas says I should send you the video I took with the Boo Bear to see if you hear anything. Okay. We haven't. I guess Tom used the Boo Bear while they were there.
Yeah.
I'm not able to log in for some reason to this Periscope. You can always throw the question into the YouTube chat. It's not. It's not letting me. But I might have to just forego this. I'm not, because now we have dead air.
Yeah.
Okay. So so Mineral Springs. So we'll move on. I'll see if I can get that here in a little bit. But we need to move on. So the next place would be, we'll go back here again. So the Stone Lion Inn in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Bree Jones, we can go back here real quick. You can speak on this a little bit while I try to figure that out. Bree Jones is saying, I didn't realize the water was so close to Mineral Springs in the back. Well, that's why it's Mineral Springs.
Yeah, I mean, the river, Mineral Springs is right by the river. You know?
That's the Mississippi River right there in the bridge coming out of Alton. So, and then the Mineral Spring itself is right there under the building.
Yeah, I mean, that building has 5 floors. You know, you're looking at 4 and 5 right there, obviously. So there's like 3 more underneath that. And you don't really notice that, when you're looking at it. But it's, on the back side that you can't see, that's facing towards the river, you can see the 3rd floor. But then the next 2 under that, it's a big place.
Okay, there we go. So I'm finally in the Periscope chat. So please go ahead. If you had some questions in there, please go ahead and throw them in there. So I do appreciate you guys that joined us through Periscope. So our main feed, of course, is here on YouTube, but we simulcast down there in Periscope. So thanks, guys. Do appreciate that. Bree, the river's right behind there. All right, so let's move on to the Stone Lion Inn, which is, bring this up here. So that's in Guthrie, Oklahoma. This is my favorite haunted house, like, ever. As far as haunted houses go. I mean, there's a lot of other haunted places that I enjoy, but as far as haunted houses, this one definitely takes the cake. So I had a lot of different experiences. I can't really say scary. Again, I haven't really been scared on a paranormal investigation, but I will tell you about one particular investigation where we had a lot of activity going on, and is the reason that I was invited out there to for an interview for Ghost Adventures, which was not used because they didn't want to tell the real story of the Stone Lion Inn. They instead wanted to talk about Elmer McCurdy, which was ridiculous because Elmer McCurdy had nothing to do with the Stone Lion Inn, except that Becky would take people up to the cemetery during her little tours. So they stopped the renovations and at Mineral Springs. So they're still doing stuff at Mineral Springs because they're opening up apartments and stuff there. So and there was a question down here from, and I always have a hard time reading the names on Periscope. So I want to say it's Hot Jet Set. I respect what you do 100%. What motivates you to investigate when you know there are risks? It's a passion. It's that passion, that curiosity that drives me.
It's a quest for knowledge to keep history alive.
Yeah.
The truth.
Yes. Yeah, so much of that history gets lost to time. And I mean, it's like a whole, it's almost like a whole, we've done a whole show on it before where we talk about passing down information because it will otherwise get lost to time. And what we're doing in a lot of these investigations is not just about going out there for a thrill. It's not just about getting spooked or anything like that. We have an actual curiosity about what's going on there, about who is actually haunting these places, why they're actually haunting. Is there a message that they have to give? Is there something about their history that has been misinterpreted that they want known? And there's a lot of different reasons why they may be there. And so we're trying to find that out. And along the way, we're discovering lost history of these locations. And so we're documenting that and passing that on to the next generation so it hopefully doesn't get lost again. So there's a lot of different reasons. That's like a whole nother topic for another time. But
down there in Periscope, jump up into YouTube. It's fun in there.
Yeah, so it's easier for me to see up there for sure. History. Okay, I want to help the people, and and that goes along with it too. So there's a couple of different type of people. I mean, we help the people that have already passed on, those people that are living there as spirits or ghosts or what have you. And it depends on the location. I mean, if it's a residential where they're getting frightened, yes, we want to go in there and help the people. Some of them, they just want to know who's there. They're okay with the spirits that are there. Historic places just want to know more about what's going on there, that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of different reasons. And helping people is a big thing with the books that we do, the Encounters with the Paranormal books. So it's helping people realize that there are other people out there that have had their same experiences. So I mean, there's a lot that we do to help people, and even part of the proceeds of those Encounters with Paranormal books go to help the haunted locations that we highlight. So a lot of things that we're doing. Okay, so back to Stone Line Inn. Yeah, so somebody says jump into Periscope chat, and then we get going on a whole other tangent, which is great. I mean, we're here to answer your questions, of course. So one particular investigation. Now, usually the investigations that we had there were fairly mild. We'd get some activity. Footsteps were pretty common. We'd get a couple of small EVPs, get some different meter hits. Might see a door open or close, some shadow play. You might see a shadow walk through a door, something like that. So, some mild stuff. But this one particular night that we were there, and like I said, that's the reason why Ghost Adventures asked me out, and then they decided to do something stupid.
Shocker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In any case, yeah, because it wasn't the true story. It had nothing to do with it. In any case, so this fireplace that's here off on the right hand side, I was doing an EMF sweep of the house before we actually started the investigation. And we really didn't get a whole lot of activity ever in this room. People don't really report much going on this is the library. You can't see it, but off to the left-hand side, there's a large bookcase that's set into the wall. We didn't ever really get a lot here, but this one particular night, and this really started off the evening, I got this huge spike on my K2 walking in front of the fireplace, just boom, out of nowhere. And I suddenly felt this huge wave of energy just hit me. And I almost passed out right there in front of the fireplace. So, another chat down there, Periscope. Damn them money lover Ghost Adventures.
Amen.
That's right.
They don't care about the truth. They just want the paycheck.
That's right.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
So Judy Wilson, were there any nasty spirits there at the house? Well, I'm not going to describe this evening, because what happened on this particular evening was very different than anything that we'd ever have happened there before. So this is wonder if I can't see the names; they're so small on Periscope. That's why I would. This is Jeep 4WD. Wonder if they appear ghosts from the former owners. Yeah, we believe that the man in the top hat there, that's usually seen there at the Stone Line Inn, is probably Mr. Houghton, F.E. Houghton, who originally built the house. There's a little girl there, Irene, who's the other one I talked about with Ghost Adventures. They didn't say anything about Irene in the freaking show. She's there. She's played with Becky's son when he was little, upstairs on the third floor. And thanks for all the hearts and stuff like that down there. Thank you for inviting followers down on Periscope. So that's what started off this evening, was that, but it got into being something more. I do want to show you real quick the additional Adam Tillery illustration. And this is from the Time Chandler Chronicles. I had him use the Stone Line Inn library as the basis for this. So we've paused, and we've had a long pause on the Time Chandler Chronicles, but that was the basis for it. So I just want to show you some more Adam Tillery artwork, which is awesome. So going back to the story, though, at the Stone Line Inn, we just started the investigation. We were going through the entrance hall. And where's the entrance hall? That's actually here. I know I'm going through a lot of different pictures. So this is the entrance hall. And there's a lot going on in this photo that you may not realize. So, of course, you can see the sarcophagus there in the back, which was a gift to Becky, who owns the house. That table with all the drinks on it is actually an embalming table. So this house, for a period of time, for 8 years, was used as a mortuary. When the owners, the Houghtons, had some financial trouble, they moved away for a little while. They rented it out to a mortuary for a period of time before the family came back and took it back over. That embalming table was actually left there for years and years and years. It was in the kitchen when Becky bought the house. She had no idea it was an embalming table. She was actually using it to cook and bake on and stuff like that, make up dishes and all that sort of stuff. Yes, Lady Urzuli, they did put drinks on the embalming table. Yeah, when you do the murder mystery dinner theater there, they set out all the drinks and everything on that embalming table. It's very cool. So, so she was baking on this thing in the kitchen, and her son came home from school and said, Mom, do you know what this house used to be? And when he told her that it used to be a mortuary, she looked down at the table and realized that she was actually using the embalming table. But she has it out here now in the entrance hall. So she no longer lives there at the Stone Lion Inn. It's a bed and breakfast, and it's a murder mystery dinner theater. But she doesn't live there anymore. In fact, the staff that works there, Michelle, she refuses to spend the night there because of a number of things that happened to her. Like I said, there's a lot more things going on in here. So we went into the entrance hall. There's a bureau. You can't see it in this picture, but there's a bureau off on the left-hand side that's blocking a set of double doors that leads to an old parlor. Well, they've renovated that parlor into a little suite. They've rent out as a room for the bed and breakfast. So we decided we're going to start an investigation in there. We had noticed when we were passing through here, though, on that bureau, there's drawers and everything. One of those drawers was open a little bit, and we weren't sure why. We just kind of noted it in the back of our minds, like, oh, that's kind of unusual. And we went back into the parlor suite to start our investigation. Well, not 2 minutes later, boom, we heard that drawer slam shut, or we heard a slam come from the entrance hall. We went out into the entrance hall, and we saw that the drawer had been slammed shut. And I started taking some photographs. Johnny here's got a tri-field meter out, and you can see to the right of that tri-field meter, there's this white wisp that's hanging in the air. Of course, we didn't see that with our eyes at the time, but it came up in evidence review. And you can see the drawers there. This guy that was with us, it was a friend of one of the other investigators. I don't know his name, but his gut is kind of blocking the drawer that slammed shut. And this set of drawers, this bureau is actually still there to this day. But when I explained the story, the Ghost Adventures, apparently they tried it, because I got a call later on, and trying to verify which drawer it was. So apparently they tried a few things and it didn't work. I don't know, because they decided to go the Elmer McCurdy route, which made no sense. So after this, we spent a few minutes here investigating a little bit. We decided that the parlor suite had been too small for all of us to fit in, so we decided to split up into two groups. And let me take you back to the stairs here again. So one group was going back to the parlor suite. I was leading a group up the stairs. I got a little bit of a head start, and you see that landing there at the very top. I'd made it as far as that. And there was another girl who had just started up the first couple little steps there. And you see that framed photograph of Lizzie Borden? Yeah, that's Lizzie Borden there. And it has a little hatchet there. That came crashing down onto the stairs. Just boom, it shattered. It was a mess. So it's one of those really crazy evenings where I had that wave of energy that almost knocked me out. We had the bureau drawer slammed shut. We had the white wisp that we captured. We found an evidence review, and then this Lizzie Borden picture that crashed to the ground. She's had it repaired. It's still up there at the Stone Lion Inn. She had new glass and everything put into the frame. And there's a $5 super chat in the YouTube chat here from Raul Pfeiffer-Muller. Vielen Dank, Raul. Appreciate that. So, and there was another comment here. They're talking about Waverly Plantation in Mississippi. Cool.
I think maybe the reason that Ghost Adventures and other shows like that make shit up and lie and stuff like that is because they're not really catching anything legitimate. And I think it's because spirits, don't respect them enough to let them be known, to get to know them.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing. I'd been there a number of times, and we felt like we're building that rapport with the spirits there, and that's one of the things that we try to do is when we go into a location, we introduce ourselves like, "Hi, I'm Mike. This is Shana. It's a pleasure to meet you. We just want to get to know you." We go through all of these pleasantries like anybody that you would meet for the first time, and we probably do it even a little bit more so. At a haunted location with spirits that we can't see, because you don't get any of that body language or gestures or anything like that. So we kind of over-explain ourselves a bit when we go into these places, and just let them know that we're not there to harm or poke fun or anything like that. We're just genuinely curious about who they are. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're there kind of almost trying to do like a one-hit wonder. What can we get, while we're there, to film for a television show. And I mean, there's some locations that we've gone into that we only really have one chance to try to get anything. And we know that, we may not be back, or it'll be a long time before we're back there. But we try to at least say, hey, we're here to visit. We'd like to learn a little bit more about you, So, but it's usually when you go back to a place again and again and again where the spirits that are there warm up to you. It's like, oh, hey, it's Mike and Shana. They're back. Kind of like, you keep getting more and more with Molly, where we had walked into that room up in Mineral Springs, going back to Mineral Springs here. We walked in that room at Mineral Springs. We got your name on an EVP. Later on, we got the chair sliding across the floor. On other visits, you had where, you got, poked and all that in the chair. And then we felt that energy where it even knocked into me, and then the last time we were there in September where, now you're like breaking down crying because you're feeling the emotion. So it's kind of like amping up each time we go, because I think, now she knows who you are and she's starting to share some things with you.
Yeah, I wish she'd be a little more clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it a lot, the thing with Zara, is she haunted? No. But I think that she is definitely a trigger object for upstairs and in that room where Molly is at, because I didn't have her the first time, and then I asked her, if she liked dolls, and then bam. So I feel like, maybe a doll, maybe she's missing a doll.
Maybe. Yeah, because that happened with Zara, and Zara's over there.
She's over there with her soon-to-be painted sisters. So
I like this. So this is from, God, I have to do this. From Sterilite Ice. Okay. I'll never forget that one time I heard "You're a Dick" said to Billy on Ghost Adventures.
Whether
Nice,
that was
nice. Billy's one of, but Billy's one of the nicer guys, though. He I don't know.
If he's hanging with those guys, though, he's there to make a paycheck. I don't care.
Yeah. Well.
So he's in on all the fabrication and the lying and stuff like that to make money. And
well, and I had to question this when it came to the investigation was 2 years ago now, November 2016, at the Stone Lion Inn. So I was invited out there to interview for Ghost Adventures, to tell them about my experiences, everything I just described to you, which they did not use at all. And I know it's like great stuff. But they decided not to use it at all. What they did use was the newspaper snippet that I gave them of the family. But what was interesting was my co-host from Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Vanessa Hogle, came with me for to show support. And like I said earlier, Michelle, who's worked there for years, decades, she's frightened of the house. Always has been. She hates being there alone. Will not stay there alone at all. And so Vanessa and I were trying to calm her down about that. You know, we're trying to tell her, look, the spirits that are here are not menacing. You know, there's the little girl. There's the guy in the top hat who's probably Mr. Houghton. It could even be the mortician, but we think it's Mr. Houghton. You know, the spirits there aren't menacing. Aside from maybe what I experienced that one time. You know, who knows what the hell that was. You know, was it something blowing through? I don't know. But really what's usually there, you know, footsteps, okay. You know, there's some shadows darting around back and forth. There's nothing bad there. But she heard some voices one time that just frightened the hell out of her. So Vanessa and I calmed her down from that. We gave her some perspective, and she's like, oh, okay, I feel a lot better about it now. So, yeah, and well, she had her interview with Ghost Adventures. You know, comes back, we're talking a little bit more. And, you know, again, we have her calmed down from everything. Well, Billy had taken the audio out to the van. And it's the only time I saw him do this. I didn't see him do it with the other interviews. And Michelle had left within that time that he was out there. They called her back because Billy apparently had caught something on the audio recorder, and basically during the interview, you know, they're catching something saying, apparently, supposedly, you know, F you, fuck you, to Michelle. Whatever. And all of a sudden, boom, she's scared to death of the building again. And it's like, I've never, in all the times I've investigated there, never caught anything that said fuck you or was trying to be dangerous or menace. I mean, okay, stuff was not going to get knocked down off the wall, you know, that one time. Maybe it was something to try to get our attention, but we never got a fuck you or try to, you know, nothing like that. You know, all the other times that I was there, everything was really light, you know, and not bad. So we tend to think that was cooked. We think that one was cooked. So, but let's move on, because we got a couple other places. We're already over an hour into the show. So, so what was our next place? That is, oh yeah, Beardstown. There's Beardstown Opera House. Now this one was, I mean, very, very creepy for you, Shana, with all the spiders in the basement. So this is in Beardstown, Illinois. It's a old opera house that's, you know, and I didn't include the picture with the vaulted ceiling, with the dome and everything, which is really, really cool. It was sectioned off for a long time. Tom Thumb performed here. A lot of great people from back in the late 1800s. Yeah, up until 1899, that's when it stopped being an actual opera house. They're trying to revive it. They're trying to bring plays and stuff back there. They're using the stage again, and all that. But what was really creepy for Shauna to start were the spiders. There they are, all the spider carcasses. So there was there was a speakeasy in the basement, an old speakeasy. It had been a bar during the run that it was as an opera house. It was an actual operating bar. During the Prohibition, it became a speakeasy down there. So yeah, Shauna was always, she hated it for the spiders.
No, it was, I will never, ever, ever go down there in warmer weather, ever. Ever, ever. Never. I mean, there was just so many webs and petrified freaking spider carcasses, and I mean, it looked like someone just took something and just blew in, you know, an exaggerated amount of webs. And that's what it was like down there. And it was terrible. Oh my God, it was terrible. I mean, thank God it was cold.
Yeah.
And there was
yeah,
nothing
they weren't
moving.
alive. They weren't alive for Shauna.
Yeah.
So we were bundled up a little bit. But the really cool thing about this place was the menacing laugh that we got. And so we'll go ahead and play it for you. This is actually pretty cool.
If there's somebody human in here, you don't have permission, so you need to get lost.
And I'll play it for you one more time. Oops,
If
there we
there's
go.
somebody human in here, you don't have permission, so you need to get lost.
Yeah, so that's the deep, creepy laugh.
And what's funny is that I heard
Beardstown.
something. I heard a noise, but I didn't hear that.
Yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more that goes with that part of the video because there was some other stuff that we were picking up on and that we caught around that time. You know, and it was one of those crazy investigations where we didn't think that we were going to get much because there was there was a train that was going by all the time. And
It was in a busier part of town, so
Yeah.
there was a bar close by. There was, it sounded like people drag racing. There was a lot of outside noise and interference. There's this elevator that still works.
it
in
would
there,
cycle like every
and
2 minutes.
Every 2 minutes, you'd hear a noise, so you had to throw
it
everything.
would go or something like that. It
And
was like, oh my god.
it was really annoying. Like it was, I was like, let's just call it a night.
We did too. We did.
But there was some random stuff we didn't expect to catch. And
Because we were sitting there doing EVP sessions, like there's the train, there's the elevator, that's somebody down on the street, that's a truck.
It was very annoying. It was just one of those places where we're like,
yeah, and we tagged
whatever.
everything. As we're going
Right.
along, we tagged everything, and then we come out of it, putting the video together and everything. It's like, and going over the evidence, there's a lot here.
yeah, like that
was
laugh
crazy.
sound like straight out of like a horror movie, haunted
Yeah.
house.
It's awesome.
Manufactured laugh. And it was just, what in the hell?
Yeah.
What's that?
Kathy Ciliento says, Shauna, you should have asked, are you laughing at me? We didn't hear it audibly at the
No.
time. Otherwise, we would have marked it.
Yeah, we didn't hear anything. I mean, I heard a noise, but I didn't hear a laugh. If I'd have heard a laugh like that, I'd have been like,
Yeah, and there was a lot that we debunked on there. I remember that window that was like opening and closing a little bit on its own, and I heard it from that platform as you go into those dressing rooms, and you were down there in the seating in front of the stage, and I kept hearing that, and I was kind of creeping up, and it's like, it's right in front of me, and all of a sudden I figure out it's the window. Like, so there's so much that we were debunking at this place, but then we get that crazy, freaking creepy laugh.
Yeah,
So-
and the cat. I still think it was a spirit of a cat
Spirit of a cat.
that was there. Because whatever it was that I could feel but I couldn't see was rubbing against, my legs.
Yeah, Judy
So-
Wilson, he's laughing at what you said, which, yeah, because you're talking about, because we thought that, from what we were hearing, that, it could always be that somebody, a human, has entered the building. And
Yeah.
so you always throw that out there that if it's somebody human, they're going to get what's coming to them.
Yeah. It's like, you better hope you're a spirit.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it very well could just be laughing at what Shauna said. So, yeah, so Beardstown is that's the creepy laugh. That's the best laugh we've ever captured. So, all right, so we'll get on to the last location here. And yeah, Kathy L wasn't necessarily counting the minute. It's that we are over. It's supposed to be an hour show. We're over an hour, and we had 2 more locations to get to. So I'm trying to make sure. So this is from. Okay, here's a question here down in Periscope.
Is it like way
From-
behind?
No, it's not. That screen is locked, but the chat's still going. I can't read. I can't read the person's name because my eyes suck. Does it have to be evil or just the frequency as we hear it? Yeah, and I wish I could see your name, so I don't have.
Yeah,
I need to get the prescription of my contacts changed.
yeah, we didn't feel anything evil there at all. The laugh
The
itself.
laugh itself was
sounded
sinister and creepy. Yeah.
Was that how it actually sounded
And
in
you were
reality?
creeped out by the basement with all the spiders.
Ugh.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of why it made the scariest locations was the spiders and the creepy laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like basements anyway. So
Yeah. But that's a good point on frequency. So I think we do pick up on things that we are more in tune to with our own frequencies. Like Shauna sees more apparitions and less shadows, where I see more shadows and less apparitions. So I believe that has to do with the way we resonate ourselves, our own frequencies. And so she's tuned into more of those types of things, and I'm tuned into others. So.
which would you rather have?
Well, that's funny because you usually say that you're the dark to my light and I'm the light to your dark, yet somehow I'm tuned into the shadows, which are supposed to be a lower frequency. Supposed to be. Who the hell really knows?
I mean, I see shadows too.
Sure, and I sometimes see parts of apparition. I've never seen a full body apparition. I've seen mists, and I've seen maybe the occasional body part, but never a full body.
I've seen quite a few of them.
And you've seen full bodies all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even on the side of the road, walking at night, which freaked me out that one night I saw. And it was funny because what I saw was similar to
And I'll see
something
orbs and stuff. So, yeah.
Similar to something someone else had seen, but it's just in a different area. So it's just night for ghost hitchhikers, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So Kelly McCarville, hey Kelly. Kelly's going to be our guest next week on Edge of the Rabbit Hole, by the way.
Yay.
She says the spirits say we shine different as well, or that we sparkle. Interesting. Shit, I don't want to be like a Twilight vampire. God.
Yeah, I'll let you sparkle.
I guess I'll be Edward. It's the hair is similar, right? Damn it. All right. So let's get on to our final location here. And that is, and Shauna's already sighing. She knows what's coming up. Goldenrod Showboat. Surprise, surprise. I know it's a place that we've both loved, especially Shana. This is near and dear to her heart. She was a volunteer there for a number of years. It is gone. Just over a year ago, there was an arson fire, and it's no longer with us. The barge is still sitting there on the land, but the actual showboat is gone. Very, very historic location. Ran the Mississippi for many, many years. And you guys that are have been subscribed to us for a while have seen a number of videos on this, but there was a incident that Shauna had. It was, we were actually there. We weren't there to investigate. We were actually there to stargaze.
Yeah.
It was a completely personal thing.
Yeah. So like whenever you climb up on top of the boat, there is no better place to stargaze.
Yeah, because it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. There's no lights.
Yeah.
But
you go up through the pilot house there, and on top of the roof, just lay out, and it's beautiful up there.
Yeah, it's awesome. But and the energy was so different there that night. It was a totally different energy in there. And I couldn't say who it was either. All I know is that it was so strong when it came in, when we were right there in the room in the galley, which is, you have to go through that to get to, the entrance, to get up into the pilot house. But I'd always felt uncomfortable back there in that area anyway. But this energy was it was somebody different. All I know is that when they came in from across the room, I didn't see them, but man, they were strong. Like I could feel that energy all the way, over on the other side, and it come at me so fast, still not able to see it, but came at me so fast and was on me, and had grabbed my arm so hard, my elbow, just right above my elbow, and I was about to. Mike, who was in front of me, I was about to mow him over.
Yeah.
I mean.
It was like, let's go. It's like, I still had to put the ladder together.
Right.
Because in order to get up there, you need a ladder, and we'd borrowed one from her dad. And I'm trying to put it back down. It was a fold-out ladder. And she's like, go. I'm like, I'm getting the ladder together.
Yeah. So, not going to lie, that kind of freaked me out a little bit. Because I didn't recognize the energy at all. And the energy had changed a lot on the boat, so it was a little different. And, I feel better in locations where I'm familiar and I know, who I'm dealing with, so that if they start acting, I'll be like, hey, knock it off, let's calm down now. And, but yeah, that one, I don't know who it was. All I know is they had a good grip. I mean, and just caught me off guard. And I hate whenever something that I can't see grabs me, with enough force, to kind of freak me out. I hate that.
So we have a couple of clips here that we're going to show. The first is of that area that we were talking about. Basically, it's right there next to the galley. It was a passageway that went back behind the galley area into like a little server station, and then you could take a left out into the upstairs dining room area or right down into the balcony area. But this clip goes through the galley, and we basically stop where Shana was feeling that energy, and I turn around with the camera. This is actually an investigation that we did. I guess maybe it was maybe a month after the fact. I don't know, but it was the first time we'd been back after that incident that Shana described. So this is just kind of like a little walkthrough clip, so you get an idea of what's there. And yeah, I know a lot of it is of Shana's back, but Shana goes first.
I go first.
She goes first because she doesn't like being behind and getting poked like that. So here we go.
Okay, coming back in here to your space.
I've told you before, last time we were here, you are not allowed to touch Shana.
Yeah, nobody.
That is an absolute. You do not touch
Yeah,
her.
we were saging the place.
Captain Minky, you're okay, as long as I know it's you. The floor isn't really bad here. I don't know what I mean whenever you...
Well, yeah, it's been left open to the elements, so everything's starting to get a little soggy.
keep shining your light though, if you please.
Well, sorry, I'm just looking back into the kitchen.
Focusing stuff.
Yeah, there was weird focusing stuff that was going on. I think that was because of the smoke from the sage was kind of hanging in the air. I think it was reflecting off the smoke, and it was having some weird focusing issues. But it gave you an idea of the galley that was right there when we dropped down. Now you couldn't see it, but in that little hallway as we turned down there, you could see a little bit of the hall. But straight up was the hatch that went up to the pilot house. It's in the ceiling. Now you could do like a weird, crazy climb up into it, but it was safer to do with a ladder, so we used the ladder.
And climbing up in there, I would always go first, but I
Sean
wanted
always
to be
goes first.
last coming down. I wanted to be last coming down because I did not want to be the first one to be dangling out of that hole and have
someone grab you.
someone other than Mike waiting for me.
Right.
No.
So thank you for the hearts down at Periscope. Appreciate that. So the other clip has to do with at another point, $20 super chat from Kathy Ciliento. Thank you very much, Kathy. Appreciate that. She says, because we are going to go into overtime, because we are having such a good time here. Thanks for the shows, guys. Always very interesting and full of great info. Thank you, Kathy. Really appreciate that. So, so another part of that investigation that evening, I had the incident the first time I'd ever been there with Annie and her blowing into my ear and all that. And I'd heard that she liked to dance. So I decided to play some music and try to dance with her if Annie was still up there. While this clip is going on, there's some sort of ball of light anomaly, whatever, flowing through the area. And I put it out there for a while. Hey, do you guys think this is dust or do you think it's a light anomaly? It goes off the screen over to where Shana is standing. And then she all of a sudden, you have an emotional moment and you see Shana walk off the screen. I don't show the entire thing. I cut it off where Shana starts walking off the screen. But then she walks to the side of the boat and she's crying. She's breaking down. So I'm going to go ahead and show that bit here.
Okay.
So let's see, where's the
Coming back in here to your
Goldenrod?
space.
Ball of light. There we go. Hope I didn't resize this. I'm going to play that again because it was sized incorrectly. And Candy Orton saying, I remember these clips. Yeah, we've shown them on other shows before.
Some music, Annie, like to dance. We're going to try to see if Annie is still up here.
So, yeah, so Shana walked off to the side of the boat, and if you, what was it, the Goldenrod Showboat Return #1 video. We had a couple of return videos. That was #1, and I walked over to you, and I was asking, okay, what's going on? And you had no idea.
I had no idea. I mean, I had no reason to be sad on my own, you know. I was in a place that I liked being in. So, you know, I didn't have a reason to be sad.
Sterilite Ice down in Periscope is saying looks like it went to her. So
Yeah.
and that's what a lot of people believe.
And it went pretty fast too, I guess. It looked like on there. I didn't feel anything coming at me. You know. I usually don't have a warning when stuff like that happens. It's kind of rare.
But that's what happened with you with Molly at Mineral Springs.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I've started seeing this like heat, like shimmery thing, you know, that you would see like when there's a fire, like the heat mirage.
But you didn't see that at Goldenrod.
No.
It was just, and we did not see that ball of light with our naked eyes. And it was behind, or at least it seemed like it was behind me. I don't know in the video, but it came up, down, over. It seemed like over to you, and then boom, you were.
Yeah. You know, when I said, you know, asked me what's wrong, I was like, I don't know. You know, I mean, all I knew is I was sad, but I didn't have a reason to be. And then, you know, I had had that happen, you know, once before, but felt, you know, I knew who that was. And, you know, because I had interacted with Annie, you know, quite a bit, you know, I could tell, you know, that it was her. It felt like her. This, I didn't know who it was. You know, I was like, I don't know, you know, but it's not Annie. It's not her. So, you know, maybe it was Charlie.
Lady Erzuli is asking, why do you think the energy ball causes you to feel overwhelming emotion to cry?
I mean, you know, looking back, you know, I didn't even know it was there, you know, so I feel like, you know, it was somebody, you know, somebody's energy coming over by me, and, you know, maybe they were sad and just projecting it, you know, into me, and I didn't hear any words, so it's just, you know, the emotions that came out, you know. And like I said, I didn't get a name, I didn't get, you know, any visuals, any scenarios, I didn't get anything. I was just sad, you know. I was fine, and then I was sad, and then, you know, we tried to play the music again, seeing if maybe, you know, music touches people. It was a pretty mellow piece, and thought maybe that was it, you know, but it's a song I'd heard before, you know, and then played it again, and I was just like, fine, you know. So it was just, you know, like I said, you know, I didn't have a reason to be sad, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, very, very unusual moment. But, yeah, I mean, it seems like, yeah, I don't know if they're projecting, they're trying to maybe get your attention, like, you know, hey, I'm here, I'm sad, I need somebody. Maybe they're lonely. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different things we could speculate about it, but that's one of the reasons why we do what we do. So, you know, we'd gone back up there a few times before to try to follow up on that.
You know,
didn't really get any answers though. I mean, more of our follow up ended up having to do with Charlie, even though we didn't know it was Charlie at the time.
Right. Like the first time it happened with Annie there, you know, instead of fleeing the scene right away, I started just asking questions, you know, why, you know, Annie, you know, if this is you, you know, why are you so sad? You know, why am I crying because, you know, you're sad and you're trying to let me know that you're sad? You know, talk to me, you know, tell me what's going on.
But I remember you telling me you didn't think that energy.
I didn't think that one was.
Yeah.
Not that second one. Not with you. No.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't feel her at all. The first time, yeah, I feel, you know, I felt very strongly that it was her. Yeah.
Right.
I felt pretty strongly that it was her. And, you know, sometimes I can tell if it's a female or a male energy. And sometimes I can't, you know. It's just kind of random when it comes to me. You know, I don't always... It happens. I have no control over anything that happens, really. It just... I'm there, and then, boom. It happens.
Yep. Follow up from Lady Erzuli. If these spirit balls project sad energy upon a human subject, what do you think that says about the condition of spirit energy? Has anyone ever been hit with an energy ball and they felt happy? Yeah, I mean, I think that was just the energy that they were trying to convey at the time. I've heard of people getting angry from energy that are there. One that seemed happy, that it didn't necessarily hit one of us, but also there on the Goldenrod Showboat, was that yellow ball of light that was dancing all over the place. That seemed like I'm having a great time.
Yeah, that was just, and for us, it was more, there was nothing sad, there was nothing angry, it was just shock, fascination, and
it was like showing off, like, here I am.
Yeah, and it moved so fast, and yet you couldn't hear anything, not even a stir of a breeze of anything. It was like all in silence.
It was all over the place. And the audio did not pick up anything, just us talking about it. It was all over the place.
It was on the list of one of the coolest things I've, it's definitely on that list. One of the coolest things I've experienced.
Yeah,
anything
that
I
was
can't
definitely
explain
a cool one.
Is a cool experience to me.
Yeah, because just the way it like transformed from a ball of light, from a bar of light into a ball of light, and just the way it was dancing all around that showroom.
And he saw it. I didn't see it until much later. If I'd have seen it in some of the other, but I didn't even know it was there. It was right by me.
It was right next to you.
That's the thing. Like, there was not a blip on my radar of energy even being anywhere near me, and I was just totally oblivious.
Yep.
So,
and it just happened to be that I saw it. So yeah, because you guys were going on with your conversation, but in the end, for a good 4 minutes, there were 3 of us watching the thing. So that was very cool that there's 3 of us that were actually there to witness it, rather than just be like, oh hey, yeah, I saw this. So all right, well, let's go ahead and let's wrap it up. We've been going for an hour and a half. So I know I'm not trying to clock the minutes, but we do have some things that we need to take care of before the evening ends, and we did have an hour show beforehand. So Bree Jones with a $10 Canadian super chat says, great show, guys. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Bree. Absolutely appreciate that. I always appreciate all of your insight into our investigations and photos and clips and all that stuff. So all right, so and thank you guys down in Periscope for checking us out this evening, and glad you guys are down there chatting and chiming in and all that. So for YouTube, okay, you guys in Periscope, you can visit us out here at the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/HauntedRoadMedia. A lot of great videos, almost 600 now there. So please feel free to come out, check us out, and subscribe.
And a lot of Mad Hatters to interact with.
That's right. Our Mad Hatters out here in the chat are freaking awesome. So we want to thank our Cheshire Cat, Donna Gorton, for Cheshire Catting the chat. Absolutely appreciate that. So we'll get to the shout out. Start with the super chats. So super chat superstars for this show are Andrew Cox, Rolf Pfeiffer-Mueller, Kathy Ciliento, and Bree Jones. Want to thank all 4 of you for being super chat superstars this evening. Absolutely do appreciate that. So So I think Tim Schoen, thanks for joining us again this evening. Kathy Ciliento, of course, who just mentioned. Candy Orton, thanks for joining us this evening. Candy gave us a good shout out on Kelly Steffen show earlier today, talking about the new Encounters with Paranormal Volume 4 book. So you can check that out. Let me pop that up here. I think that I have that in here real quick, right? Go to Scariest Places. I think it's all the way down here at the bottom right. There we go. So that's the Encounters with Paranormal Volume 4, which just came out here at the end of October. So, of course, out for the holiday season. And the other 3 volumes are, of course, still available as well. So thank you all. And then, cool. All right. So Judy Wilson, thank you very much. Beat3 Airspace, thank you as well. One of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons, which also we have our Patreon, Haunted Road Media. So Tom McNicholas, B3 Airspace, Zippy Davis, BD Flint, Pamela Queen, Joe Chandler, and Andrew Cox. Thank you for being our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. Of course, there are many other patrons as well. So we just released a behind-the-scenes video from the YMCA. Shauna's stomach noises. She even does a little dance for that. You guys were making comments about my dancing there. Did a little waltzing or two-step or whatever. Shauna's doing a little dance to her demon stomach in this one. So check that out.
Oh my god. God.
So, yeah. Bree Jones, thank you very much. Jill Nimchinsky, thank you as well. Kelly McCarville, who will be on next week's Edge of the Rabbit Hole, thanks for joining us tonight. Greg Renkin, thank you as well. Lady Arzuli, thank you for the questions tonight. The Haglin, yes, until we meet again. Debsme08, thanks for joining us. There's Pat Kraft, thanks for joining us tonight. Sean Oldsmith, our friend from Australia, thanks for joining us. Let me hit a couple of these from Periscope real quick. So there, if I could read. Starlight Ice, thank you. Jeep 4WD, thank you very much. There's, I can't read that. Hot Jet Set, thank you as well. So, all right. Like I said, I need to get prescription on my contacts checked out. Okay, who else do we have in here? So JA, thanks for joining us tonight. All right. So we had a lot of you in the chat. I think we got Judy Wilson. Yeah, I know we had lurkers out there like Adam Tillery's always lurking back in there. Mark Dodge, thanks for joining us live tonight. Appreciate that. Anitria, I guess, or Anetria, I don't know. Thanks for joining us, a new Mad Hatter this evening. All right, so I think that will about do it for tonight. Thank you guys very much for joining us, and if you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Of course, we have all the other 600 videos here on Haunted Road Media. So, till next time, everyone, appreciate it. Oh, that's right. And this is going to be the wrong clip.